Hello everyone, I hope you're taking it easy and your day has been great thus far. For this video we're continuing through the retrospective page through of Imperium with issue number 32, and Imperium is for the Warhammer 40,000 setting as part of the whole wider Games Workshop array of games. So 32 issues later. I will do a quick note. I've actually had the first 2 issues of Combat Patrol per my subscription arrive. So keep an eye out, because it looks like I'll be kicking off the Combat Patrol stuff a lot sooner than expected. Anyway, promo for Combat Patrol aside. Front of issue number 32, sporting a very interesting unity, which I suspect is this Kataphron destroyer. I've actually had a quick look at the runner already, and I'm actually surprised by the number of pieces. So that's a quick look at the completed Kataphron destroyer. So what do we expect in this issue? Information about said Kataphron destroyer, some story information about humanity's past, so I'm guessing before the Emperor, and rules for the Adeptus Mechanicus units. Straight into the issue. So pretty much the contents of the issue. So half of it will be pretty much Kataphron destroyer. So the actual Kataphron destroyer. So they appear to have some different war gear options, which I suspect will be evident on the model. So there's some type of plasma weaponry, the actual servitor that is attached on a little mini tracked tread system. Kind of makes me think of an epic Land Raider. When I say epic, I mean the actual scale epic, not Land Raiders being epic. Flamer weapon and some other options here between a heavy grav cannon and a phosphor blaster. So that's nice. So just some interesting information about the destroyer, and of course we've got the battle record on the back of the page. And it looks like you can probably have multiple Kataphron destroyers in a single unit. Now, I wish I knew the rules for the Mechanicus. I do not, so I'm actually not too sure if it's single units of 1 or a unit of up to 3. Who knows? Let's try that again. The Ancient and the Arcane. So some of the story information here. Servitors, Electro Priests. So no doubt some of the hybrid between humanoid mechanical constructs within the Imperium. What do we have here? Unaga Dune Crawlers. Kind of look like 4-legged dreadnoughts being a tank, and not so defiler looking legs. Iron Strider engines. They do kind of look pretty cool. So that's always interesting to see. So nice information there. Legacy of Strife, so that period of mankind, the good old age of strife. Now I'm not going to read through this, but obviously there'll be some information there. Shunning of the Psychers, hatred of the Xenos. So yes, there was a period of time Psychers were not people's friends. Now I'm just going to change some of that lighting because it is not doing so well. Anyway, how to build Kataphron destroyer. That is the actual runner, which we will look at shortly. So clipping off the pieces, sub-assembly, which is probably not a bad idea for bits and pieces, painting, etc. So I suspect we will get the actual painting guide as well. There is a interesting little disclaimer here about keeping some of these pieces for later issues, which is probably a giant disclaimer of, yes, you will get more Kataphron destroyers in later issues. How to build, so pretty straightforward there. So pretty much building the bottom of the destroyer, so it's tracks, the actual servitor itself, and it looks like it will be by default equipped with this flamer. And then over here we have the actual plasma weapon being attached as well, and then obviously putting the body to the tracks to the base, and there you go. So you could probably build this in probably at least just these 2 components here. In fact, we'll see what they've done here. How to paint. So lead belcher, apparently a few coats to get it going. McCrag blue to pick out some of these lenses. Corn red to pretty much pick out a good part of the servitor, the weapon casing and the tracks. Normal oil, no big surprise there. Rakarth flesh as well, which is a recent addition. Morn Fang brown as well. Going into Runelord brass for some of the metallic piping. Agrax Earthshade just to bring some tone in. Abaddon black, touch up some of those black areas. Corax white for skin tones. The Mechanicus symbol as we usually see. The second coming of normal oil. That's probably going to start becoming an in thing. And then the final gallery based on the paints available so far. And to be honest, it actually doesn't look too bad. I do like how it's got that very nitty gritty look about it. Probably no part and due to the normal oil and the Agrax. There will be more paints later down the track, so I'm sure they'll come back and do some highlighting, etc. In terms of the actual gaming side of things, so we have some of the Adeptus Mechanicus rules. I'm not going to go through them, and to be honest, probably no point. If these were 9th edition, we're at the almost tail end of 10th, with 11th around the corner, so historical value is pretty much those rules at this point in time. So there is a quick tutorial with the Kataphron Destroyer, the Tech Priest Dominus against some warriors. I feel sorry for the warriors. And then the actual data sheet for the Kataphron Destroyers. So number 3, so I'm suspecting it was a unit of up to 3. Looks like they have some decent stats, various range of weapons, and things like that. Kataphron Plasma Culverin, I'm assuming some form of random attacks. I'm not too sure. I'm not going to go reading through everything. And the heavy grav cannon, if that was in use. So it'll be interesting to see if the grav cannon is also there, which basically makes them wonder, do I have to start magnetizing these? And then lastly, we have the actual little mission inclusion, the Overlord's Advance. Necrons versus the Mechanicus. And there's the scout mission walkthrough, and then the splash page for Imperium. I'm not doing very well tonight. I'm literally mixing up words. Okay, the future issues, back in the past, issue 33 had 2 paints included, Reichland Flesh Shade and Cryptic Armor Shade Gloss. So we have 2 shades there, which is very nice. And then issue 34, we get a second run of the Ruined Factorum, information about the Imperial Fists, and some updated Space Marine datasheets. In fact, 33 also had some updated Necron datasheets, which, you know, once again is dated. I mean, this came out for Australia back in 2023, so the UK probably had it maybe 2021, I guess. Anyway, that was the actual issue. Now, as for the actual Kataphron Destroyer, so we do get a giant base. I don't think that's 50 mil. I think that's the next base up, which, don't quote me, I actually have no idea what it is. Well, I take that back. I probably do, but I don't have it in memory. As for the actual run-on, now, which is the actual front side, which is the actual back side? Here's the front side. Well, top side. So very detailed pieces here. I'm just looking at the 2 sections of the treads. I see probably one set of weapon casing, another weapon casing. There's the flamer. So I feel this does have all the components to do the random weapons. In fact, there's the plasma Calvern. So it does feel like there's everything here. There's a quick look at the actual servitor body. So definitely very detailed, as to be expected for Adamec. But yeah, definitely a case of just do your heavy base coating and wash, wash, wash. Well, shade, shade, shade. Wash, wash, wash was very 3rd edition. Anyway, that was the included runner for the Kataphron Destroy. Okay, so I'm going to wrap things up there, a little bit longer than expected. Thank you very much for sticking around for this retrospective unbagging of Imperium issue 32. Feel free to do the usual like, comment, subscribe. It does help support the channel, and I do appreciate it. Feel free to check out Instagram and the YouTube community tab. There's always some stuff popping up there. Granted, not all of it's always 40k related, but I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to figure out my hobby life. Life is weird right now. Anyway, as I said at the very beginning, Combat Patrol will be kicking up soon, so I'm going to be running Combat Patrol and Imperium side by side, so that'll be an interesting logistical challenge, but we'll get there. Anyway, with that being said, stay safe and take care, and I'll catch you in a future video, whether it's Imperium 33, Combat Patrol 1, or something else on the channel. See ya.